Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Welcome to the Realty Ruckus out of the White Picket Realty Studios. It feels so good to be back. I am your host, Alan Hernandez. Sitting next to me, your producers, David Bonilla and Jabron Hernandez. We are here to make sure that your real estate business is continuously growing right along with us. So thanks again for joining us today, you guys, because it's been a little while since we've been able to get back in the rhythm of things doing this. We've changed some things up. We've gone from doing the live studio audience back to the studio. It just seems to be a whole lot easier, more compact, and faster for us to do this. And we're going from a 1 hour show to a half-hour show just to make sure that we compact as much information into these 30 minutes as possible.
Make it a little bit more viewer-friendly.
Making it more viewer-friendly so you guys can log in, watch it, knock it out, and if you have any questions, you can always drop all of those down below in the comment section because we love to hear from you. So throughout the show, don't be afraid to throw those thumbs up, those angry faces, sad faces. The hearts, of course, are the best ones. Those are the ones we love the most.
Give us some love.
We love it when people give us love. Speaking of, we have what we call Love Day in our house coming up because my little girl likes to call it that instead of Valentine's Day. She's like, hey,
Love Day.
Love Day's coming up. So I can't wait to tell you guys all about that next week.
It's so funny because when we plan the show, I like to give people a little background on what happens here. And we always plan a show and we decide what topics we're going to be talking about. And the first topic Alan threw out, he's like, let's talk about Valentine's Day. And we said, let's wait until next week
vetoed
when it's actually Valentine's Day.
And then I brought it up anyway.
And then Alan's like, you know what? Screw this. I want to talk about Valentine's Day.
Yep, usually how it works.
Pretty much how that works around here. But I want to tell you guys something that happened earlier today, which I thought was really, really cute.
Was it about Valentine's Day?
It's about Love Day, okay? It's not Valentine's Day. It's Love Day.
That's how it's getting
at
around
our house. And so Eliana wakes up and she's like, hey, you know Love Day's next week. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, it'd be really nice if you had lunch with me.
Aww.
Yeah, for Love Day. So I was like, all right, that's cool, you know. And so I emailed her teacher or whatnot. And her teacher's like, yeah, man, show up and whatnot. So I thought next week I celebrate Love Day with my 4-year-old. I'm gonna take her some flowers and we're going to see what happens. See how that goes.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I wanted to share with you guys that you guys didn't want me to share with all the audience. So anyway,
no, we just wanted you to share it the day before Love Day.
I'll give you guys an update of what happens after I go to Love Day with my 4-year-old, and we'll do that next week.
Is this your first Love Day with her?
This is my first Love Day that we're hanging out together for lunch.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so it's a big deal for me. All right. You guys
I get it, man. I have a little girl.
You guys are
Baby's
haters.
got a little girl. I can't wait to do that.
Oh, yeah, man. And speaking of little girls, have you guys watched that movie Coco?
No,
yeah.
I refuse. I refuse to watch that movie.
Well, look, one, it's going to give you a lot of nostalgia because it is 100% accurate when it comes to Hispanic families.
It is.
You know the way that like the Hispanics hold grudges?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really they drive that point. Oh yeah, they nailed it perfectly. They're like, you will never talk to that man again ever. I don't care if it ruins your damn life. You can't do it. But
how many of us have heard our grandmas or someone say that?
Yeah, always because the world says so.
I thought about that though because in that movie he sings a song to his daughter. And I was like,
this is exactly why I don't want to watch this movie.
Oh my God, that movie made me bawl so much. I haven't cried like that.
I've heard this from like 4 other people. I'm like, man, why would I go through the torture?
If you have a daughter, that movie is absolutely guaranteed to make you cry.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
All right, I'm definitely not watching this thing.
You should watch it with your daughter on Love Day.
Oh God, no!
Oh, you really want a heartbreaker? Right there, man. That one will break your heart.
I love it. All right, well, let's talk about some real estate because this is a real estate show.
Oh yeah,
from what I understand.
I think it's called like Realty Ruckus.
Okay, just making sure. So for those of you that have been out and living under a rock like I have in the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So how's it like under the rock?
Man, under the rock is actually really nice. It's very peaceful.
I know. Alan did his first political thing with me like a week and a half ago during the State of the Union. I went over to his house and I made him watch the State of the Union.
He did.
Because
really?
He forced
me to do this, by the way.
Yeah, his wife and I love it. And we were sitting there watching it and I was like, oh, we're going to change it or what? He doesn't like watching the news.
I don't watch the news. I don't watch politics.
And I don't blame you, man. Sometimes you watch so much of that crap that it just really gets under your skin.
It does, man.
Yeah, it truly does.
I was at a restaurant the other day and they had the news playing, and by the time we left the restaurant, I actually like felt like going drinking, man. Like I was like depressed because there was like all these like news reports of people dying and all this other crap. I'm like, man, why would you put yourself through all of that? So anyway, let's talk about real estate because recently we had the Inman Conference in New York, one of the largest conferences in the United States, and it's all this year. It was all about the new technology that's happening in real estate that's coming to the market and how it's changing the way that real estate is done.
It's right? All fear mongering. It's all fear mongering is all it is.
Now, here's where it got really interesting. There was a discussion on the fact that real estate was dying a slow death.
That was one of the big discussions that Brad Inman himself. He came out and he said, look, we just need to accept the fact that real estate is dying a slow death and it's going to be a completely different industry here in the next 2 to 5 years. I mean, I don't even think that's a slow death. I think he's given it the fast death by saying 2 to 5 years.
And here's what's scary. It's the CEO of Inman. It's Peter Flint, one of the co-founders of Trulia, and it's Robert Refkin, the CEO of Compass. Compass is is one of the fastest growing brokerages in the nation. Yeah. They have this really interesting strategy where they buy out the books or business of other agents.
Yeah, and they don't buy them out. They basically pay them to bring their book of business to the brokerage.
It reminds me of like when T-Mobile was like, "Hey, if you don't want to have your phone at Verizon, we'll just pay you, and you can just come."
They're doing something very.
They're doing that, right? They're doing like the Verizon model.
They're basically saying, if you are a good agent, depending on your previous year's productivity, we're going to give you a certain amount of money to come over to the brokerage. Yeah. And so, of course, these agents are picking the Compass brokerage over other people. They're like, hey, would you like a $100,000 bonus for coming over
That's
here?
how I ended up at T-Mobile.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't stand T-Mobile now.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we have to take a quick commercial break. You're on the Realty Ruckus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, wherever you chat with us during the show. We can answer your questions live on the air. Now, we were just talking about how technology is eating away at the industry. It's the collapse of real estate. Real estate is changing completely from it. And I want to get all your thoughts on it. Is it really happening or not?
Well, I love the fact that in this article that Inman put out, it's they themselves, whoever the writer is disagreeing with this whole thing, and they're disagreeing with some of the biggest names in the industry, some of the people that are leading the way per se with either their technology or their systems, their brokerages, whatever it is they're doing. But it's making it to where because it's these big names, it makes you wonder what they're really referring to. And is there something that we're missing here? Because I don't see it dying away anytime soon.
Well, look, here's the thing. There was 3 big companies who basically said real estate is going to die the way that you know it. And those 3 big companies were Trulia, Trulia, Zillow, there's the same damn company, Redfin, and Compass. Now, which is really weird to me is the Compass one, because they are an agent-centric brokerage.
Yeah.
Their whole model is traditional real estate with a lot of support for their agents. So to me, it's very, very confusing, very, very misleading to hear that from them, especially because they didn't really announce any type of plan to mitigate that. They basically were like, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. And it's almost like they're trying to scare people out to bring them to their brokerage. And one of the ways that they saw that problem being solved is by saying, well, it's all going to be about the teams now. You won't have brokers anymore. You'll only have teams, which makes absolutely no sense, because that's the same as saying you won't have any master plumbers anymore.
Yeah.
You'll only have journeymen. Well, who are the journeymen going to work for? You got to have somebody licensed.
Yeah, you can make it all about teams, and I do see that trend happening. And if you think about it, it's one of the reasons why we are structured the way we're structured, where we encourage people to build teams. Now,
correct, but the teams aren't replacing the brokerages.
The teams don't replace the brokerages.
I feel almost like that was a mistake when he was saying that. I feel like he meant to say that big brokerages would be replaced by like broker teams, so to say. I mean that because you're right. What he said doesn't make sense the way he said it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, and a lot of the things that he said doesn't make sense. The guy gets a ton of praise for who he is, and I guess I'm one of the haters against him, just because he went on there. He talked about like how you would in the future you're going to be renting your car on Uber, and it'll be making money for you overnight while you're driving. And I just don't see that happening. I think that's maybe a small intermediary phase in between, but no, that's not going to happen. But he was confusing in that regard. Okay. Now, Redfin, they think they've got it figured out by hiring agents on salary to do all of the job. Now, the biggest problem that I've seen is I know people who've worked for Redfin, and they hated working for Redfin.
Yeah, they did.
They thought it was the absolute most miserable job that they ever had. And I think that's because if you're in real estate, you do real estate for two reasons. One, you want to have the ability to set your own schedule. I think that's one of the big things in real estate is I want to have some flexibility to set my own schedule. If you're working for Redfin, you don't have that.
Yeah.
You're getting paid just like any other job at that point.
Oh, yeah, their salary.
You lose that huge benefit of setting your own schedule. You're back to just working a salary job for $50K a year.
I want to be the devil's advocate here, and I want to say that maybe he has a point in some regard. I do see that the small teams are going to be more and more prevalent in the industry. The whole ordeal where an agent is actually a really good agent on his own nowadays isn't going to work as well as it used to. And that does have to do somewhat with the technology that's come into place, but more importantly with the client expectations. You see, when you're meeting with the client nowadays, that client has certain expectations of you. And when they're meeting with you, the sole agent, or a representative of a team of, even if it's just 3 or 5, they're getting a different experience with that team. And that team member is delivering on the fact that they're going to be able to do so much more than this other guy. Of course, unless this other guy's lying, per se. But I'm telling you from experience that this guy here will more than likely be pushed in the direction of eventually growing a team regardless, because he's going to be overwhelmed. The sole agent will always feel overwhelmed right at that 20 transaction a year mark, maybe plus or minus some.
That's not going to replace the broker, though. The broker still has to be there.
Well, there still has to be a broker.
So that's just a traditional real estate model.
Yeah.
That's not a death of the traditional real estate model. That's what we're saying is, I agree with you. I think teams are, there's going to be a lot more teams. You're going to see a lot less sole practitioners, a lot more teams.
You know, it's so prevalent that Trek is even making a rule. Actually, it's happening, I want to say May of this year, where if you have a team, and this is going to be a big change in the industry, if you have a team, your team name has to have either group or team at the end of it. You can't have the old something or associates or whatever. You know how like these other team names make it almost seem like they're independent on their own.
Oh yeah, you have to advertise that you're a team as a broker.
Your team name literally has to have the words team or group in the name. And like, for example, if you are the lead agent on that team, your business card can't say CEO or president because you don't own the company. You are just a team under a company. And so they're making so Trek's rolling out these new laws, these new changes, and that's going to make a huge shift in the market because now everyone who's done it improperly is going to have to go rebrand everything that they have.
Yeah, and I don't think that's. I think that's going to have some effect, but I don't think it's going to have as much an effect as you think. I think that people that had LLC or realty, they're just going to go back and change it to team or group, or it's going to be a pain in the butt, but it's not going to disrupt the industry. It's not going to bring their business to a halt. You know?
It's a pain in the butt for the team leader who's now has to rebrand everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, getting back to
let's get back
technology.
To that was a total side note.
Yeah, it's Redfin. They think they've got it figured out.
Yeah.
I know too many people that have been miserable at Redfin. Mm-hmm. It's just it's just another job. It doesn't give you all of the things that you would want in real estate, which is a freedom to pick your schedule, freedom to go out and meet with whatever clients you want to meet with, and the ability to grow your team. It might be a great starting place for somebody who's brand new, but even then, how many brand new agents can they realistically hire? Mm-hmm. They can't service everyone who wants to enter the industry. So they're kind of an intermediary, in my opinion. And then you have Zillow Trulia, who are benefited by making people scared that technology is taking over.
Yeah, which is why one of the reasons why I think Peter Flint, one of the co-founders of Trulia, would have been on that panel and would have agreed with that whole argument, saying that the real estate is dying a slow death. I think what he's trying to do, and it's obvious, is push the agent itself out. He wants to be the agent, the lead, the everything. But that's his version. That's his way of looking at technology taking over.
Oh, I think it all has to do with, of course, he's going to try to funnel more people to his own product by saying, what you're doing now doesn't work. You need to come use my product and make it happen. Yeah.
You're never going to be successful unless you use Zillow or Trulia, and you're like, man, come on now.
Exactly. I really felt like that was a big thing there, and I just don't see it. I see. Here's the thing. Look, the internet's been around for a really long time. The next largest purchase to a house is probably a car, right? That's the next biggest expense that anyone will ever make. How many people actually buy their cars on the internet without ever looking at it in person, without ever negotiating it? How many people actually do that?
I'm trying to think of like the last time I bought a car.
Yeah. I had to go look at it in person. I needed to ride around in it, and then I had to have a negotiation with the salesperson.
Mm-hmm. Even when you get absolutely nothing off.
Yeah, well, I got a good deal.
You got a good deal?
Yeah, I feel like CarMax is one of those companies, though, that you get no negotiation. They're the no haggle.
Okay, so we found such a good deal the last time we bought a car that I went in and tried to renegotiate it and tried to get an even better deal. And the guy was like, listen.
He brought the price up on you?
He's like, it's not going to happen. But we got a really good deal on that car.
Well, what do you guys think about from this article? You know, Bernice, the author, she mentions that the biggest takeaway from Connect for her this year was that there's two very different models operating side by side in real estate.
Okay.
One is the consumer-focused model, agent-centric model that's focused on GCI, profitability, and then the other model that's more focused on culture, mission statement, and is more consumer/community driven.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's all in one.
Yeah.
You're all one. If you're agent-centric, then you have agents who believe in the model of your business, that believe in the mission that you're out to do, and your agents are consumer-centric. So as a brokerage, you have to be agent-centric, and you have to deliver a consumer-centric model to those agents.
Well, and the author, I think, what they're pointing out is that these brokerages out there, they're only taking one side to it, because she kind of compares KW, where they're more community-focused, like take KW Cares Initiatives versus Compass, where they're very agent-centric, very agent-focused. And so I think the point she's trying to make is these brokerages, they're operating on either side of the spectrum, and they're not really meshing these two things together.
I don't agree with that. I just don't.
Yeah.
I feel like KW is a very agent-centric model.
Yeah.
Is it outdated a little bit? Yeah. I mean, are they celebrating because they're the number one in America now? Yes, also. Mm-hmm. And to become number one, they didn't become number one by only supporting the community and doing community things.
Yeah.
They had to be agent-centric to get there. Mm-hmm. So for them to say, well, look, we can see more of that on KW, yeah, you can see more of that, but you're completely discounting everything that they do for their agents.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I mean, even if you start looking into what KW does, I mean, one of the reasons why they get so many agents is because of the training they offer. And they set a really a high bar for all other brokerages coming into the industry to say, hey, if you really want to compete, your training better be top notch.
I would say that if there's two models operating at the same time, it's the two models that are operating. One is agent-centric in terms of we want to make sure that our agents are achieving. We want to make sure that our agents are actually being productive. And the second model is income-centric. Of I want to have as many agents as possible so I can close as many transactions as possible, even if each individual agent is only closing one transaction a year. Well, and that's low quality centric is what it is.
Even on that mindset,
maybe that's what it is. It's quantity centric or quality centric.
That's
when you really start looking at it, that's where a lot of brokerages fall into, is choosing one or the other.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. There's a quality centric and there's a quantity centric.
Yeah.
And that's where the real line is.
If you look at it, I know we got to take a quick break. A lot of the brokerages that we've seen shut down in the last year have been quantity centric.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to survive when you're just, I want as much as possible.
All right, we have to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. You're on the Realty Ruckus. We'll be right back.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
That's what we finish out with.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. And we were actually reading some of your comments during the break. Cracking up here, somebody said to quit buying the crappy Zillow ads, Zillow Trillia ads. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we agree with you, buddy.
Nice.
We agree with you.
Thank you guys for chiming in. Really appreciate it. All right, so when we left off for the break, we finally came to a realization that it really wasn't about being agent-centric or consumer-centric. It really came down to brokerages choosing one of two things, either quantity or quality.
Yeah.
And what we're finding in our experience is that the brokerages that have chosen to go quantity only, they're accepting any agent who wants to wear the agent hat.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what. And it's all about accumulating as many agents as possible.
Yeah, this is where I find with the quantity brokerages, they start out wanting to have as many agents as possible so they can close as many transactions as possible to collect on those splits. But what it eventually turns into is trying to get as many agents as possible in the door that you can start collecting fees on, because that's how you keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they start realizing, oh man, these agents really aren't going to be closing the transactions I need them to close. I got to charge them monthly fees, and that's how they're keeping the doors open. And when the shit hits the fan, that model breaks down pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of those models that you have to have a lot of time to ramp up, and you have to be able to cover all of your expenses until you get to the point that you're doing enough transactions to at least break even, and then after that be able to make some money off of it.
The argument that everyone will have towards this is you have brokerages like the one owned by a good friend of mine, Osorio, who has 2,100 agents at $200 or so. I don't know if it's $200 or $250 per transaction.
It varies.
It's low
point.
though.
Right. It's low enough to make you wonder, well, how does it work? Well, then you realize, well, there's 2,100 agents. They'll average probably 2 transactions each a year. You do the math. There's actually some money made there, plus the money that he'll collect on a yearly basis on them renewing with him.
And he does it, in a smart way when approaching that model, because he doesn't accept agents that, have less than 2 years of experience.
He used to, though.
He used to, but
that tells you something, though, whenever you start cutting out those other agents.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. I like that. What does that actually mean? Because he went from accepting new agents to saying, you can't join this team or this organization unless you've had 2 years experience.
And a certain level of experience within those 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever been to one of our trainings has heard me say this. I don't care if you've been in the industry for 20 years or 20 minutes. A 20-minute agent can be better than a 20-year agent.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, if you have questions, you go to your broker. Your broker answers those questions. That's what he's there for if you have something complicated. But your job is to service your client the absolute best way possible. And it doesn't matter if you're 20 years in the industry. If you suck at servicing your client, then you suck at servicing your client.
Yeah. And by then, you've already built up some really bad habits.
Oh,
and it's so hard to break bad habits from an agent.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe that it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry. The person that is, I'd rather have somebody this is their first year, they did 10 transactions, and somebody who's been in the industry for 30 years and they do 2 to 3 transactions a year. I mean, that's just the reality for me.
That's true.
There's some really good comments in this article. Here's one from Frank. He's part of a consulting group. He says, some great points. Additionally, in 20 years of helping brokerages grow, recruiting and retaining agents continues to be the lifeblood of the business. I've never seen a productive agent switch brokerages over the splits.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I mean, if
well,
you're making 50,
think about this. We're saying that's very true, but I mean, come on. How many times do agents say, hey, I'm going to switch because I can get a better split over there?
Well, I can guarantee you almost 9 times out of 10 that agent's not a productive agent.
Yeah.
Almost every single time when they start looking for savings, it's because they're desperate for money and that they haven't been consistent in their activities and their production. I can almost always guarantee that's the case, and that's why they're going somewhere else. They're blaming it on something outside of themselves, or they need to be looking inside.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Now, unfortunately, since we're in the 30-minute format now, we got to jump to events and get people updated on what events we have coming up.
I know. What events do we have coming up? First off, we just had a great event this week.
We had a great summit. We had a few prospective agents come out. We had some great feedback. For any agent out there that's wanting to know what it's like to be a part of White Picket or what our culture's like, feel free to reach out to me, David at whitepickerealty.com, and I'd be more than happy to get you an invite to our next summit, which will be in March. We had a ton of fun here at this February one.
Amazing. You got to check out the pictures online.
Check out the pictures online for sure. Now, other events coming up this Thursday, actually, at the White Picket office, we're having a call night. We're just getting together, having a few hours of prospecting, helping each other critique our calls, some coaching. Again, if you're an agent or interested in that type of activity, reach out to me, David at whitepickerealty.com, and I'll get you a special invite so you can attend with us.
You're telling me you don't have to be a White Picket agent to come to our call night?
No. We want you guys to see that we walk the walk.
That we're actually agent-centric.
Yeah.
That we're quality over quantity.
And we're not afraid to show you. We're not afraid to show you.
What happens during a call night? What actually goes down?
We go ham on making some calls and getting new business.
And some people are pushed out of their comfort zones, and then they get on that phone, and then they book their first appointment, and their eyes light up, and they're hungry for more, and they get on there, and it changes the way they do business.
Yep. And then what happens when they leave, and on the board, we see how many millions of dollars we've potentially created in income.
They're ready for another call night.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are interested, feel free to join us. Get with David here in case you want a pass so you can come out and hang out with us. That's this Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m.
That's true, Southwest office. All right, let me go through these quickly. We got about a minute left. On the 22nd this month, we are having a new agent happy hour. If you're interested in joining our team, we're going to be having happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. out at Pub Fiction. You can find the details of that event on our White Picket Realty page. And you guys may have noticed we did move our first happy hour date from February 14th. We're moving it a month later to March 13th. It's going to be at St. Arnold Brewing Company, and we look forward to having you guys there.
So that's the big happy hour that we have.
That's the big one.
Right?
We call it the real estate rally.
The big boy.
The big boy. And so this year we've changed the name of the happy hour from what used to be the White Picket Happy Hour
That's
to
right.
this year being called the Real Estate Rally.
Absolutely.
And we're changing it because it's grown so much further than we intended for it to be. But
That's
we
right.
love it. We are embracing it.
It's bigger than White Picket now.
It's bigger than White Picket now, and we're continuing to grow it. So you guys definitely put that on your calendar. That's going to be March 13th.
March
now.
13th from 6 to 9 p.m. at St. Arnold Brewing Company. Guys,
So
free
you're telling
beer
me
and free food.
You're telling me it's not going to be on Love Day anymore.
Not on Valentine's Day, Ash Wednesday, whatever it is you're celebrating out. There's some people are going to be drunk from Fat Tuesday,
Oh, yeah.
Mardi Gras. So whatever it is, don't worry, we got you covered. We moved it. We heard your voices. We moved it to March.
So make sure you put that on your calendar. The Real Estate Rally, March 13th. That starts at 5 p.m. as well. 6 p.m.
Yes.
Free beer, free food, lots of great networking.
That's right.
It's an amazing time. Guys, it's been great to see you again. Thank you guys for joining us here at the Realty Ruckus. Don't forget, we're on every Tuesday and Thursday now, only for 30 minutes, starting at
1:30 to
30 minutes.
between 1:30 and 2 p.m. Don't forget to keep up your ruckus, and we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.